I'd write a song, I'd give it to a friend, and they'd be like, "It's awesome, dude. This is great." Like, so I was not used to hearing somebody like, "Dude, like this sucks." Like, what? I had plateaued because I was surrounded by people that just like when I asked for feedback, they'd be like, "It's great," right? And that wasn't very helpful because I wasn't growing. I was just plateauing. Like I was just believing like I was great, and nobody was actually giving me critical feedback that I needed to hear. And Dylan, he would rip me every time we would meet. He'd like rip me a new, not rip me, but like he would tear my shit apart, right? Like, oh, you got to work on this, dude. You gotta work on this, and that's what I need. That's what I needed to hear. I like hearing like, oh, it's great, I love it, and good job. Like that's not, you're not going to grow, right?
Totally.
But I don't know about you guys, but like, so the big problem with that I was having many problems, but one of the big problems I had was because I was a rock and roll producer, like all the songs I was creating didn't have any sub in them. Mm-hmm. There's no sub bass because like what the hell was sub bass? I knew bass guitar. I didn't know what the fuck is sub bass. So like all the songs I produced basically were void of sub bass, and Dylan kept saying like, yeah, it's good, but like where's the bass? I'm like, well, there's a bass in there, but it was like one of those like
higher mid basses.
Yeah, like mid basses, like like analog bass kind of things. He's like, yeah, no, like where's the sub bass? And I'm like, what the hell's sub bass?
Yeah, man, it's perspective on it is so different. Like the assumptions we go into coming from where we came from, like what does a song need? You start into a new genre unless you've got somebody there who understands where you're trying to move and understands that zone. It's so hard to get like real critical feedback from somebody. And that's why Il Gates is the man for opening that up and then expanding that and having, all of us teach for him now.
Yeah.
100%.
And I don't know about you guys, but like, it was a real growth moment for me because to be honest, like the first time he gave me feedback, like it hurt my feelings. Like I was really hurt. I licked my wounds. I like went away and I was like, licked my wounds. I'm like, oh, like my shit sucks. Like that's okay. But then like I needed that. Like it took, a couple months of one-on-ones with him until I started getting like a stronger resilience to feedback. And then I developed, then I became better at receiving feedback. When I realized it wasn't personal, it's not personal. It's there to help you grow, right? But I remember that the first feeling of that, because like I was for years like I'd write a song, I'd give it to a friend, and they'd be like, "It's awesome, dude. This is great." Like so, I was not used to hearing somebody like, "Dude, like this sucks." Like what?
What do you think? What do you think it was for you that made you want to keep going through that? Because I think sometimes starting producers don't know how to like properly take that feedback, and they do take it personally and like get hurt. What do you think it was about you that made you so coachable that you wanted to like keep going through that, let's call it, painful process?
Yeah, well, because I mean, it wasn't a fluke, right? Like, so I was in the game since I was 14, right? And it wasn't like I picked up the hobby 6 months ago, right? Like my whole life, it's been with me my entire life, and my entire life I've been striving to get better and better and better and better, one step at a time, and just so that just has become like innate in me. Like I'm always trying to accomplish more to get to the next goal. Like I would always set these little goals. Like I remember the first time I picked up the guitar, my first goal was like, I can't wait until the day that I'm able to play all the open chords with my eyes closed, that was my first goal. And then I hit that goal. I'm like, oh, cool. Like, I was like, okay, I can't wait till I could play the pentatonic scale in like every position on the guitar with my eyes closed. And then, so I would keep setting these goals and be like, oh, you know, I can't wait until I can play guitar and sing at the same time. And be like, oh, hit that goal. All right, so next goal. I can't wait until, you know, I would keep setting goals. Like, now I want to achieve this, and then I would work my butt off until that became a reality, and then I would just keep going and keep going. Did that answer the question, or did I go off course?
Yeah. What do you think someone can do to be more coachable if they're in that stage?
It's easier said than done, but just truly, when you hear me say, it's not personal. It really is not. It's not personal. And I know it's easier said than done because it feels personal to an artist. Like an artist, that's their life. Like that's their passion, you know. So like and they feel good about their passion, right? Like they feel it means something to them, right? And you know, when somebody criticizes that, it kind of stings. It stings a little. Yeah. But I think it's a necessary part of growth. Like you have to get over the sting, because now like I get it's not attached to my emotions whatsoever. And because I grew, I went head into the experience and got to the point where I was able to detach my emotions from feedback. Right, it was something I had to learn. And it was painful, like because I had so equated, you know, what other people thought of my music to satisfaction that like when I was getting critical feedback, it was like physically painful.
Yeah,
totally.
I think that's one thing that is really tough for producers just starting out, because when you're just starting out, you need a certain amount of ego to propel you through those early years where you do kind of suck, like to believe that you're good enough to get through the amount of work that it's going to take to really get good. You have to believe that you have an innate talent to make it worth your time. And when someone's critical of your work early on, even though you know in the back of your mind that what they're saying is true, it's really hard to have that moment of equalization of, you know, your music, you're not Skrillex right now. I know that you want to be Skrillex right now, and that in some respects you think that you might be an earlier version of Skrillex because that's what your ego is telling you to propel you through these awkward beginner stages. But the coming to terms with the fact that you know you're not Skrillex right now, but you're working towards being that good, and it's okay that what you're making right now isn't perfect, and realizing and having someone point out where your stuff isn't perfect is actually really beneficial right now, because it helps kind of direct where you might need to put in some extra effort. It's just kind of tough because without having the ego to have to burn down, it's just really hard to put in all of the extraordinary amount of work that it takes to get good at producing. So I think that's probably the biggest reason that I see that people would have a tough time with that.
Yeah, I see this coming back around to where we started in that quality through quantity. Like you said, at first, when you first started getting feedback, each bit of feedback stung on a personal level. And the more you did it, you realize like, oh, that's just my ego taking a bruise. And it actually doesn't really have anything to do with me. This is me showing a work in progress to somebody who's dedicated to helping me. And I can just not take it personally and apply the feedback and move forward faster. And so like coming at it with this, I'm going to get as much feedback as possible to burn away that sting right now so that I can get to the part where I can just get more and more feedback. I think that's a really important lesson there.
Yeah, absolutely.
On that, oh, sorry. Go for it, Evan.
You go for it.
All right.
I like it.